Welcome to this video on student portfolios. As an essential tool in modern education, a student portfolio serves as a dynamic and comprehensive way to showcase a learner's journey, skills, and growth over time. More than just a collection of assignments, portfolios reflect the learning process and offer a deeper understanding of a student's development. Integrating portfolios into assessments has become a best practice, allowing teachers to gain a holistic view of student progress while also fostering self-reflection and continuous improvement. As we all know, in today's educational landscape, where AI tools are increasingly providing instant answers for paper-based assessments, it's more important than ever to find ways to truly track and evaluate a student's authentic learning and progress. Students' portfolios play a critical role in this, offering a personalized and evolving record of achievements, goals, and reflections. By using portfolios, educators can assess not just what students know, but how they apply their knowledge, solve problems, and grow over time, ensuring a more accurate and meaningful evaluation of their capabilities in an era dominated by technology. Let's delve into the workshop presentation that I recently delivered about student portfolio. By definition, a student portfolio is a collection of work that demonstrates a student's learning progress, achievement, skills, and development over time. It's typically including a variety of materials such as written assignments, projects, essays, tests, reflections, and other evidence of learning. Portfolio can serve as a tool for self-reflection, assessment, and goal setting. Not just that, they can be used to showcase the depth and breadth of a student's learning in a specific subject and the cross-curricular links with multiple disciplines. Thus, student portfolio is becoming an inevitable evidence to show when we are trying to demonstrate the progress and attainment of students. Let's shed the light on what some scholars said about portfolio. So, starting with Marilyn Allen in 2004, in her work on portfolio assessment, Allen defines the portfolio as a purposeful collection of student work that reflects an individual's learning journey over time. This collection includes both finished products and the processes that led to them. Paul Kirschener in 2001 argues that a portfolio is not merely a collection of student work, but rather a purposeful selection of work that reflects the student's learning journey. He suggests that a portfolio allows for self-assessment and helps to demonstrate both the process of learning and the outcome. Katie Toole in 2008 views the portfolio as a dynamic and reflective record of a student's work that highlights key moments in their learning, growth, and development. She emphasizes that the portfolio is a way for students to engage in deeper reflection, helping them to monitor their own progress and set goals for the future. In 2007, Helen Barrett describes a portfolio as a digital collection of evidence that provides a comprehensive view of student learning, including reflections, self-assessments, and critiques. She highlights the role of digital portfolios in modern education, allowing for a dynamic and evolving representation of a student's growth. As you can see, each scholar emphasizes slightly different aspects of the portfolio, from its role in self-assessment and reflection to its function in demonstrating both the learning products and processes. Let's have a look now at the development of student portfolio as a tool for assessment and reflection from 1970s to 2025. We will see that the stages can be broken down into key periods reflecting shifts in educational philosophies, technological advancements, and changes in assessment practices. So in 1970, there was an early roots and traditional methods about student portfolio. So in 1970s, the portfolio concept emerged from earlier practices in arts and design, where students would collect their works to showcase their skills. This period focused on the idea of students keeping a physical collection of their best or most important work. During this time, the focus in education was still largely on standardized testing and summative assessment, so the portfolio was not yet seen as a mainstream tool for assessment, but was occasionally used in specific areas like visual arts or design. In 1980s, there was an increased awareness and the pedagogical shifts in terms of assessment. So in the 1980s, educational theorists like Jean Piaget and Vygotsky emphasized the importance of active learning, personal reflection, and the construction of knowledge. This laid the groundwork for portfolios to be used more widely as tools for reflection and student-centered learning. In the later part of the decade, the use of portfolios began to spread beyond the visual arts and performing arts into more general educational contexts. They were seen as a way to assess student growth over time, particularly in writing and language arts. The focus began to shift towards seeing portfolio as a developmental tool that could track the process of learning, not just the final product. In 1990s, it was an expansion and more formalization of the process. So in the 1990s, portfolios became more formalized as a tool for assessment. They began to be adopted in more mainstream education settings, especially in K-12 and higher education, as a means to assess students' learning processes, not just outcomes. Education reform movements such as the establishment of the national standards in the US led to the formation of student portfolio as part of assessment process. The idea was to provide a more holistic picture of student attainment and progress under the umbrella of student achievement. Towards the end of 1990s, the rise of personal computers and the internet led to the early development of digital portfolios, which allowed students to easily compile and present their work electronically. In 2000, The digital portfolios and the integration into curriculum were the main headlines. So by the 2000s, digital portfolios became more widespread with the increased availability of personal computers, web tools, and educational softwares. Many schools began using digital platforms to manage student portfolios, enabling more efficiency and effectiveness in terms of storing, sharing, and reflecting on students' work. So the concept of portfolios evolved further, and many educators began emphasizing the importance of reflection in the portfolio process. Portfolios were not just for collecting work, but for documenting the learning process, including self-assessments and reflections on personal growth. Digital portfolios, or what we know nowadays as e-portfolios, became more common, allowing students to collect multimedia evidence of their learning, and it started involving more video recordings, presentations, and blogs. Educational institutions began incorporating portfolios into their assessment processes, particularly in higher education, where students could use them to showcase their achievements to potential employers. In 2010, portfolio became a tool for lifelong learning and personal growth, as the portfolio was increasingly seen as a tool to promote lifelong learning, a way to track progress over time, support career development, and highlight personal growth beyond formal education. So, portfolios were increasingly used in competency-based education, where students demonstrated mastery of specific skills and knowledge. Portfolios became a means to assess whether students meet established learning outcomes and develop their skill set and soft skills. Many educational systems became very much proactive in using the portfolios to facilitate peer feedback and collaborative learning. So, portfolios were seen as a collaborative tool for students to engage in the learning community and to improve the learning. Definitely, at that specific time, many platforms incorporated social media-like features to allow students to share their portfolios with their peers, with their teachers, and with potential employers using their own social media platforms. How does it look like now? So after 2020, portfolios became central to personalized learning, where students could create customized learning paths based on their interests, strengths, and goals. This was supported by the use of adaptive learning technologies that allowed students to create their portfolios with more individualized approach. This integration allowed students to showcase a combination of academic work, achievements, and personal learning experience. As we all know nowadays, with the rise of AI and data analytics in education, portfolio platforms began offering more sophisticated features such as data-driven insights into student progress. AI-driven tools can now help students track their learning patterns. They can recommend resources and provide personalized feedback. Portfolios in 2020s and nowadays began to focus not only on academic achievement, but also on the development of global competencies such as communication, collaboration, and critical thinking, which is aligned with the growing emphasis on 21st century skills. As we all know, nowadays there has been a stronger focus on making portfolio tools accessible to all students, including those in underserved or remote areas. Technology is increasingly enabling students to have digital portfolios that they can access from anywhere, promoting their educational equities. If we are going to end it up with looking at the year of 2025 and how nowadays we can see the AI powered personalized learning being impactful on the learning portfolio, we can say that by the end of 2025, portfolios will likely become more deeply integrated with AI and machine learning, which enables highly personalized learning journeys, since these tools will offer real-time feedback and insights to both students and teachers, guiding students towards mastery. As a conclusion, the development of student portfolio from 1970s to 2025 reflects a broader shift in education towards student-centered learning, personalization, and holistic assessment. Early portfolios were simple collections of student work, but over time, they became more integrated with technology and educational philosophies, emphasizing reflection, self-assessment, and personalized learning. As we move forward, portfolios are likely to continue evolving with new technologies, which will foster lifelong learning and more meaningful connections between students, teachers, parents, and the world around us. Let's try to look now at the elements and the components of a student portfolio for a student in the kindergarten. In the kindergarten, student portfolio is typically designed to reflect the developmental and educational milestones that are central to early childhood education. The portfolio, as we know, is a tool for documenting a child's growth in multiple areas, including cognitive, social, emotional, and physical development. So, what are the main sections that we need to make sure they are included in the student portfolio of a student in KG? The first one, introduction, or the portfolio section. What does that include? This section is key because it will include the basic information about the student, including their name, age, interests, and family background. It can also include a photo or drawing of the child to personalize the portfolio. In addition, it will include a brief description from the homeroom teacher about the child's learning style, strengths, and any notable observations. The second section, it will include photos and videos of learning experiences. Keep in mind, the aim of the portfolio is to capture the context to the student's growth and engagement. So photos or short videos of the child engaged in classroom activities, such as the playtime learning activities or group projects, can demonstrate the learning in action for a student in KG. Reflections and goals. For kindergartens, there may be simple reflections such as what I like doing this week or my favorite part of the school, where they can reflect either using words or drawings. Teachers may include a reflection on the child's learning journey, including accomplishments and areas for improvement. In this section, the teacher can also suggest goals for future learning based on observations of the child's current abilities and areas that need more support or attention for parents to be mindful about. Assessments and observations. Teachers' observations in KG are key because the notes from the teacher on the child's daily behaviors, interactions, and progress can allow to reflect the key developmental areas of the child. Results from any formal testing or informal activities designed to track growth are important to be included. Example, counting tasks and identifying letters. Teachers can also include developmental checklists or rubrics that they use to measure skills like social interaction, motor skills, language, and cognitive abilities. Work samples. Examples of the child's drawings, paintings, and crafts that demonstrate creativity and fine motor skills. Also, we can include early examples of the child's writing, including their ability to form letters, use words, or even simple sentences at different time intervals. So we can include in the portfolio the students writing at the beginning of the academic year, towards the middle, and at the end to show the progress. Also, we can include samples of counting, sorting, or simple math problems to demonstrate the child's understanding of numbers and patterns. As we all know, at this specific age group, family involvement is key. So we need to seek the parents' input by inviting the parents to comment and reflect about their child's experiences, strengths, and home learning. So we can have a contribution from the family where they can add any project or activity that was completed at home, and they can reflect on how successful the child was able to do it on his own or with little support to show the students learning outside of the school boundaries. Classroom activities and field trip documentation. We can include in the student portfolio any records of field trips, guest speakers, or other special events that provide a broader context for the child's learning. Even when students, they speak in the assemblies, in the weekly gatherings, and in the awards ceremonies, this is a way to celebrate their success in their own portfolios and to keep it documented for their own personal learning journey. The learning milestones and developmental progress is key for students in the kindergarten, because here we will be talking about 4 main concepts. The first one, we have to shed the light on the cognitive development of the students. So this section will showcase the students' progress in areas such as literacy, numeracy, and problem-solving skills. The other developmental growth part is the social emotional. In this one, we need to document how the child interacts with peers and teachers, how they are developing their abilities to share, communicate, express emotions, and resolve conflicts. The third developmental area is the physical development. What is the evidence of the child's growth in fine motor and gross motor skills? How they are able to write and draw? How are they able to run, jump, and balance? And the last one is the language development. This section highlights progress in speech, vocabulary, and communication skills, such as the ability to follow directions, express ideas, or participate in conversations. Keep in mind, student portfolio is about students. So in KG, the students' portfolios will have a lot of drawings, will have a lot of visuals, since students will have limited abilities to express themselves in written. Let's shift gears now to see what are the components of the student portfolio for an elementary school student. For elementary school students, a student portfolio will offer a comprehensive review of their academic progress, personal growth, and creative work. So here it will reflect their development in various subjects and areas of skills. It will look more balanced to have written parts and visual parts more than the KG portfolio. The first key component of the student portfolio for an elementary school student will include the personal information, which constitute of the student's name, the age, grade, photo, and a brief introduction about their interests, hobbies, strengths, and goals. This gives context to the portfolio and makes it personal. The second component is students' work samples. Samples of students' work from different subjects, such as maths, reading, science, and social studies, can allow the person looking at the portfolio to have a holistic understanding about the attainment and progress over different subjects. So in maths, there could be worksheets to show progress in skills like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, geometry, or problem solving. In reading and writing, there could be examples of reading comprehension, written stories, essays, reports, book summaries, and poetry. This demonstrates the reading and writing skills, creativity, and critical thinking. In science, there could be projects, lab reports, or experiments that demonstrate understanding of scientific concepts. Social studies can include essays, maps, and reports that reflect the student's understanding of historical events, geography, cultures, and communities. The third component sheds the light on creativity and arts. Regardless of which discipline we are trying to look at in the student portfolio, arts and crafts remain to be an integral part in the student portfolio, where students can include samples of their artwork, drawings, and other creative projects that they completed in class for any discipline. This will show how they are developing their creativity and fine motor skills in line with the mastery of the content knowledge. If applicable, there could be notes, photos, or videos of performances or drama activities the students has participated in. Teacher's observation. Observations made by the teacher regarding the student's social, emotional, and academic progress are key because they provide insights about the behavior, leadership qualities, interactions with peers, or work habits that the students is developing over time. Teacher comments on students' growth in areas such as reading fluency, math understanding, or problem solving can give a very strong evidence about the student's progress over time. Photographs and videos. We need to encourage students to take some photos and videos when they are completing projects or activities in group or individual, as this will document their experience and development in a more personal and visual manner. Short videos of students presenting a project, reading aloud, or explaining a concept can demonstrate the speaking skills, confidence, and students' understanding of context. Those videos and photographs can be taken in school or at home or during any experiential learning activity to demonstrate students' understanding of the content. Reflections and self-assessment. As we all know, short self-reflection activities which motivate students to talk about what they've learned, what challenges they face, and what they are proud of, provide a better understanding of how students are receiving the information, how they are interacting with it, and what kind of impact is it leaving on them. We can ask them to reflect on prompts such as, what was the hardest part of this project? What did you enjoy most about this subject? Why were you so excited about this activity? Hearing the students' opinions can give a very good guideline for teachers to deploy more strategies that were well accepted by students. Also, in this section, we can give students a room to set personal academic or behavioral goals, such as improving handwriting or mastering the multiplication tables, because this will be revisited throughout the year to track progress over time. Parents' contributions. Comments or observations from parents about their child's development at home is key as it supports the academic development. When students they do home projects or assignments that are relative to the learning objectives, these could be a family history projects where parents have spent quality time to understand the learning dynamics of their child, the thinking mechanism, and the development of their children. So allowing for some reflections to include the child's interests, their behavior, the learning activities that they are engaged in outside of the school can support the academic development of the child. Assessment records. As we all know, in the elementary school, students will start having written paper-based assessments. So in the portfolio, We can start including copies of important test results or quizzes that show the students' performance and growth in subjects like math, reading, and science. It's not only about the summative assessment, it is a mix of the informal assessments being classroom activities, quizzes, and the formal assessments such as unit tests, end of term exams to provide a snapshot of academic growth over time. We can also include results from external benchmark assessments like the MAP assessment. If we're talking about the American curriculum, we can include also cognitive abilities tests like the CAT4. We can include about the reading proficiency like the NGRT, any piece of information that can help track the attainment and progress of students in that specific year group. Special projects or achievements. We need to keep in mind that students, they like to celebrate their success and to take pride in things that they have done. So recognitions of any special accomplishments, such as winning a class award, completing a challenging project, or excelling in a school competition is key. If applicable, we can include a section documenting their experiences or learnings from field trips or extracurricular activities, including photos, reflections, and learning outcomes. Another section, which is growth and milestones. Many teachers in the elementary school, they try to use the pre and post work records, which include samples from the beginning of the school year alongside recent work to visually demonstrate the students' progress in areas such as reading comprehension, writing fluency, and problem solving. Also, we can document the key milestones such as mastering a new math concept, reading level improvement, or increased participation in class discussions. This will be a good opportunity to celebrate the success of that child in front of the school community and in particular with parents. As we all know, nowadays in 2025, technology and digital literacy is key for the educational systems. So students can include examples of work done on computers or tablets, like digital presentations, multimedia projects, or coding activities. This shows the students' engagement with technology and digital tools. Additionally, evidence of participation in online educational platforms or projects is key to be included, like, for example, the monthly achievements on a certain reading platform, the amount of math questions that they were able to solve and complete successfully on a platform. Those monthly reports are very important testaments to show the level of engagement of the student in the learning, as well as to motivate them to keep up the hard work in the coming months. Social and emotional development. We need to make sure that the learning journey is well captured when we're talking about student portfolio. So, observations and examples of the students' growth in areas like teamwork, communication, conflict resolution, and empathy can be a good demonstration of the social skills development. Notes or self reflections on emotional growth, such as increased self regulation, handling frustration, or demonstrating resilience, can be a very important evidence on the behavioral development of the student. Collaborative work. As we all know, students are involved in group work inside the class and sometimes outside of the classroom. When we use rubrics and peer assessment rubrics for evaluation of samples of projects or assignments completed as part of a group, this can show how the student collaborates and works with peers. So, including those joint reports or peer assessment rubrics, presentations, or creative projects can leave a memory with the child on how well the work was done when there was a partner working hand in hand with them to complete the task. Last but not least, which is progress tracker. We all know that the student portfolio captures the journey of learning for a child. So, a simple tracker that shows areas where the students had made significant progress is key to be included inside the student portfolio. What are the specific examples about progress trackers? Here we are talking about checklists for mastering reading. We're talking about checklists of skills, science concepts, or even mathematical uh, operations like multiplication tables. Overall, an elementary student portfolio is meant to reflect the whole child, showcasing both academic and personal growth, creativity, and effort. So we need to structure it in a way to be a tool for celebrating achievements, encouraging self-reflection, and giving both students and teachers a clear picture of progress over time. Let's move now to the upper school and see the components of the middle or high school student portfolio. For middle or high school students, a portfolio will serve as a more comprehensive collection of their academic work, personal development, and extracurricular activities. It highlights growth, skills development, and achievements across various subjects and areas of interest. Let's see what are the main components that should be included in that portfolio. As we can tell, personal information is a common component among all the student portfolios, regardless of which phase of the school we are talking about. So the first component is personal information. And here it will include basic details like the name, grade, age, photo, and contact information. But it will also include a short personal introduction about the student's interests, goals, and academic strengths, which is best done here by the child and not by the teacher. The second part, which is the academic work samples. How does it differ from the one in the elementary or the KG? The academic work samples here are focused on capturing progress over time. So if we're taking maths, for instance, we will include here samples of problem-solved assignments, tests, projects, models that will demonstrate progress over time in concepts such as algebra, geometry, or fractions. For language arts, samples of student work could include writing assignments, essays, book reports, creative writing, poetry, and reading comprehension work. It will include evidence of their development in writing skills, including revisions and final drafts. In science, the academic work samples can include lab reports, research papers, science projects, and experiments. Here, it will provide evidence of understanding scientific methods, critical thinking, and inquiry. We can look at other subjects such as word language, where we can include samples of writing, vocabulary lists, or language exercises. We can look at social studies, academic work samples, where we can include essays, historical research projects, maps, and reports to show the understanding of cultural studies and historical events. The third section, which is creativity and arts. Similarly to what we have said in the elementary school student portfolio, we can include in this component samples of artwork that demonstrate students' creativity and fine motor skills, such as drawings, paintings, sculptures, or digital art work. We can also have some notes, recordings, maybe photos or videos of performances such as music recitals, band performances, or the school play. The fourth part, which is the teacher observation. At this age group, teachers can write narrative feedback about the students' academic growth, areas of strengths, and areas of improvement. Those comments can cover academic, social, and behavioral components where teachers can attach some copies of report cards, quizzes, tests, and other projects to showcase the students' academic progress and achievement. Observations made by teachers regarding students' engagement, participation, problem solving skills, and interaction with peers could also be included and be a very important component in the student portfolio. The fifth one, which is reflections and self-assessment. As we all know, starting from the middle school onward, the usage of self and peer assessment rubrics becomes the norm. So in this one, we can have reflections from students on their own learning journey, where students are given the freedom and they are empowered to lead their learning journey by setting the personal academic or behavioral goals and revising their work to reflect on how they have achieved it and what kind of obstacles they have faced to complete it and how they overcome them. Also, they can capture moments of pride by asking them to reflect on prompts such as, what are you most proud of this year? Extracurricular activities. In the student portfolio, we can include any kind of documentations related to extracurricular involvement, participation in sports teams, school clubs, drama production, or volunteer work. This can include photographs, certificates, or letters of recognition. Additionally, we can have the awards or certificates the student has received during the school year, such as the honor roll, perfect attendance, or sports achievements, in addition to any award the student has earned on his or her own outside of the school hours and the school activities. Keep in mind, student portfolio is meant to capture everything related to the student learning process. Parents' contributions. How do we see it in the middle and high school student portfolio? All the time, we have to keep in mind that parents can provide insights into their child's development outside of the school, which can help the teachers to understand better what kind of family-oriented projects students are involved in at home and what are the additional learning opportunities that they are exposed to. So keeping in the portfolio sections where we invite parents to reflect, write, comment, and support in helping us to understand how the child is developing specifically in the middle and high school to build their future personality is important. Assessment records. More and more, as we go higher in the school phases, we start seeing emphasis on test scores, quizzes, standardized test results. So this section of the student portfolio will include copies of important test scores, quizzes that show the student's academic performance and growth. It will include results from standardized tests to give context to the students' academic level compared to their peers worldwide, and a mixture of the ongoing formative assessment and the more formal summative assessment. Talking about growth and milestones. As we look at students in the middle and high school, we can see more and more a need to build the students' independency and self-responsibility when it comes to the learning. So documenting the key milestones for students to achieve and master learning goals is key, as it will make students realize how important time management and organizational skills are for their own success. Also, when we include samples of work from the beginning and end of the year to visually show the students' academic and personal growth, this will help the child to see how much they have invested time and effort and how they evolved from where they started to where they have ended. Technology and digital literacy. Students nowadays, they rely heavily on digital projects and platforms. So it is important that we give them the option to include the sample of work that involve technology, such as presentations, multimedia projects, coding tasks, and any work done using educational technology. This will give an evidence of their digital literacy development and their competencies in using the digital platforms to develop their learning skills. Social and emotional development remain key, where we need to see in the students' portfolio notes from teachers or reflections about the students' social growth, such as teamwork, leadership, conflict resolution, and communication. Also, documentation of the students' growth in managing emotions, self-regulation, resilience, and positive decision making. Collaborative work. Samples of group assignments or projects that show how the student collaborates with others is key to be included in this section, as it will show how they have managed to complete joint research projects, team presentations, or collaborative learning activities. Community service and volunteer work. As we all know, when we move higher in the school grade levels, we will see students making more kind of involvement in their school life. So they will start becoming members of community service activities, doing more volunteer work, and helping with the school events, tutoring their peers, or maybe participating in charity drives. So this kind of evidence to be included in the student portfolio highlights their commitment to social responsibility, which can support them when they build their profile for universities. Last but not least, talking about the personal achievements, here we have to help students to showcase any independent work that they have initiated, whether be it a personal website, writing a short story, leading a club, or maybe having a non-academic achievement, such as an achievement in sports, overcoming a challenge, developing a new skill, or a community involvement. To sum it up, when we talk about middle and high school portfolio, we have to make sure that the portfolio provide a well-rounded snapshot of a student's academic progress, creativity, social development, and extracurricular involvement. Student portfolio is not only serving as a way to reflect on achievements, but also it helps students identify their areas for improvement, track their progress, and set future goals. So it is a very valuable tool for students, parents, and teachers in assessing learning outcomes and personal development. But we have to keep in mind that if those main components are missing, then people will not look at the student portfolio with its value being a right tracker of the developmental stages for skills, competencies, and mastery of content knowledge. It's not about the practice only, having student portfolio. Yes, at our school we have student portfolio. It's about what is included in that student portfolio, how often it is being visited by teachers and students, what are the components, and how we are setting the tone at the beginning of the academic year to explain to the whole school community what's the purpose of student portfolio, what are the expectations of student portfolio, what are the responsibilities of students when it comes to student portfolio, of teachers, of parents, and of the senior and middle leadership team. Let's talk now a little bit about the benefits of student portfolio. A student portfolio, as we said, is a powerful tool that offers several benefits for students, educators, and future employers because it has many key advantages. Let's start with the first one. Showcases growth and progress. A portfolio allows students to track their learning and improvement over time by including drafts and final projects, reflections, and feedback comments. So students can look at how they have developed their skills and knowledge throughout their learning journey. Personalized learning. Portfolios can highlight individual strengths, interests, and unique learning experiences for students. This makes learning more personalized and gives students a chance to take ownership of their academic journey. The third benefit, which is improving reflection and self-assessment. Students can reflect on their work and progress, which helps them to develop critical thinking and self-assessment skills. This process of reflection and self-assessment encourages them to set goals, to recognize their strengths, and identify areas for improvement. The fourth benefit, which is building a collection of achievements. A portfolio should serve as a comprehensive record of a student's achievements throughout the academic year. It should include a range of work, some samples of essays, artwork, projects, or videos, checklists, self-assessment rubrics, peer assessment rubrics, reflections from parents, from teachers, and all the non-academic contributions that the student have made inside or outside the school. The fifth benefit, which is encouraging critical thinking and creativity. Creating a portfolio requires students to choose their best work, organize it effectively, and explain their thinking process when they have completed that. When students are doing that, they are already demonstrating their developmental thinking process and creative presentation of their ideas, which will enable the teacher to understand what is their level versus where their level should be. So by then, the support and the mentoring can be straight to the point, nailed to meet the needs of the students because they have reflected and they have spoken about their thinking process when they are completing a certain task or project. The sixth one, which is encouraging active learning. We are nowadays looking for all the different opportunities to motivate students to work, to commit to attending school, and to invest time and effort. Building and maintaining a portfolio will motivate students to be engaged in an ongoing process of building that content by themselves. This active involvement will make students invest more time in their learning experience and improve their overall academic performance to celebrate their achievement and success with their teachers, with their parents, and with their peers. Next, we're talking about facilitating communication. Portfolios can be used as a communication tool between students, teachers, and parents. Teachers will assess student work more comprehensively, while parents will gain more deep insights into their child's learning journey. Last but not least, talking about the digital literacy. When we are trying to allow students to use the digital tools or we are using digital portfolios, students will develop their technical skills, especially when they use certain platforms to demonstrate their experience in a valuable way in line with today's digital world where the tech savviness is a critical asset. In sum, a student portfolio is not just a collection of work, but a reflection of the academic journey, personal growth, and skills development that can empower students to actively shape their education and showcase their achievements in a meaningful way. Let's move now to talk about the impact on motivation. Using student portfolio has a significant impact on motivating students to take ownership of their own learning process, as we mentioned before. So here we're going to talk about 5 main ways in which portfolios foster motivation and autonomy. The first one, portfolio encourages self-reflection and metacognition. How does that happen? We all know that portfolios require students to regularly assess their own work, set goals, and track their progress over time. So this process encourages metacognition, where students think about what they learned, what strategies work best for them, and they reflect on their strengths and areas for improvement. Students, they gain a deeper understanding of their own learning, which fosters a sense of responsibility for their progress. This, by itself, will build a sense of ownership, which boosts the intrinsic motivation of students as they see themselves as active participants in their learning journey. The second one, portfolio promotes goal setting. The portfolio process encourages students to set personal learning goals, both short-term and long-term. By revisiting those goals, students can make adjustments and celebrate achievements, which creates a sense of accomplishment and purpose. We all know that when students are involved in goal setting, they feel more in control of their learning, and they will start to achieve the goals with pride and a sense of satisfaction, and reinforces their commitment to the learning process. The third impact, which is the fact that portfolio fosters a growth mindset. A student portfolio highlights progress over time, emphasizing improvement rather than perfection. By seeing how the work evolves, students recognize that mistakes and challenges are part of the learning process. This helps a growth mindset where students understand that their abilities can develop through effort and persistence. A growth mindset leads to greater resilience and a willingness to tackle challenges. Students will become motivated to keep improving as they understand that learning is a continuous process, not a fixed state. Fourth one, portfolio personalizes the learning experience. Portfolios allow students to choose the work they include, giving them the freedom to highlight areas of interest or strengths, and it can help them to see that the learning is more relevant and meaningful to them because it is connected with their own goals and passion. So students, they can feel engaged in their learning process because they have a say in what they include in their portfolios. The fifth impact, we're talking about promotion of autonomy and responsibility. Portfolios require students to independently manage and organize their work, which enhances their sense of responsibility. The process of curating, selecting, and presenting their achievements encourages them to take more control of their learning. By having more autonomy in managing their learning, students become more motivated to take ownership of their education, and they will be more able to see the progress and to set their own pace to foster a sense of pride and accomplishments. At this stage, we will be able to see students more understanding of their capabilities, and they will start seeking support rather than all the time teachers chasing after them to ask them to complete tasks and ask them to do work. We are trying to shift the responsibility and involve them more in their own work. Let's now look at what some famous scholars said about portfolio being an integral part of the assessment process. Starting with Grant Wiggins. Grant Wiggins says that the portfolio is not a collection of all student work, but a carefully chosen set of student work, which reflects the individual's progress and learning process. This quote highlights that the portfolio is an intentional tool, not just a storage of completed tasks, but a reflection of learning development over time. Looking at Paul Black and Dalen William, they say that assessment is not just about judging the quality of students' work, but about improving the students' ability to learn. So in their quote, they are stressing that when we use the portfolio as an assessment tool, we are stressing that the portfolio serves as a tool for reflection and improvement, not just evaluation. Looking at Shepard, his quote says, "The portfolio is a means to develop a more comprehensive and authentic assessment of a student's learning, encompassing both the process and the product." Shepard's focus is on the dual nature of portfolios, in capturing both the developmental progress and the final product, making it more holistic than traditional assessment. So in the portfolio, we will be looking at how the students develop the projects. What are the phases that they have passed through to complete that project? And then we look at the final product and the project and presentation of that work. Let's look at what Marzano said about portfolios. Marzano said, "Portfolios provide a structured and organized way to help students make sense of their own learning." Here, Marzano speaks to how portfolios help students not only showcase their achievements, but also engage in metacognition, reflecting on their learning journey. David Perkins says, "Portfolios are not just about what students can do at the end of a unit or course, but also how they engage in the process of learning itself." Perkins highlights that portfolios serve as a window into how students approach learning and problem solving, rather than only showing their final outputs. Last but not least, we will look at the quote from Hattie. Hattie says, "The key to effective assessment is feedback that helps students improve. Portfolios can be a powerful tool for this, as they allow for ongoing feedback and reflection. Hattie's emphasis on feedback aligns with the portfolio's ability to provide continuous formative feedback that is essential to improving student achievement. These scholars underscore the importance of the student portfolio as a dynamic tool for assessment that fosters growth, reflection, and a more comprehensive understanding of students' achievements. Let's look now at the evaluation rubrics of student portfolio. When we have started the video, we spoke a lot about the components that should be included in the portfolio to have the right structure of that practice in place for each phase, being KG, elementary, middle, or high school. But what about the evaluation mechanism? When we are putting the structure for the practice, we have to make sure that we develop a detailed rubrics that will help us to evaluate and provide a structured way to assess the student's portfolio based on criteria. This criteria constitutes of content, organization, reflection, presentation, and growth over time. We can have a more simplified language for the student portfolio evaluation rubrics, specifically when we are talking about the rubrics for KG students and elementary. But it's very important that we provide a detailed elaboration for the evaluation of each criteria with the elements that the teacher used to say that students, they exceeded expectations, they met the expectations, they're approaching, they're in the process of it, or they didn't. So it's not a subjective practice, it's rather an objective practice with fixed elements that the teacher is looking for when she is evaluating the portfolio of the students. We have to keep in mind one thing, that the rubrics provides a clear and detailed way to evaluate students' portfolios based on multiple dimensions. So we're not only looking at the content quality, we are looking also at the organization, at the selection of the best work and the best samples that the students have, the reflection process, and how deep and insightful it is. We are looking at growth over time and how the evidence is helping us to see the developmental stages and the progress in key areas of learning, and definitely the presentation of the work and how appealing is it to the person looking at it, and whether students are paying attention to the design, to the clarity, to the errors. So when we are using this rubrics, we have to show the students where they are and what they need to do in order to get to the next level. So if, for example, in the organization, a student was placed in meets expectations, the student will look at this and say, my portfolio met those specific descriptions, but to move it to the next level, I have to include the elements stated here, so by then I will reach a 5 in the next evaluation. Now we will look at the feedback process. When we look at the student portfolio, we need to make sure that we keep the feedback process as one of the instrumental practices that will give value to student portfolio practice and make it impactful. So the most effective feedback process for students' portfolio is one that is constructive, clear, actionable, and encouraging. The feedback should focus on both strengths and areas for improvement to help students understand their progress and how to improve. So it has to encourage growth by being specific, aligned with the learning goals, guiding students toward further improvement, and at the same time, giving students type of comments that will help them build on what they have done to move to the coming stage. So first of all, if we talk about the feed forward approach, which is the most useful approach for feedback, instead of just pointing out what needs to be improved, the teacher will give suggestions. This is the feed forward approach. So the teacher will tell students to focus on what they need to improve. It will help them to look forward, not just reflecting on past mistakes, but looking at further strengthening strategies for next time in connecting the concepts to real life examples, to their coming standards, and to the overall learning targets that they have. Second thing that we need to keep in mind when we talk about feedback is the focus on specificity. So general comments like good job or needs improvements are not helpful. Instead, we need to provide specific feedback related to particular work samples that were included in the portfolio. So, for example, we can have students saying like, we can have comments for students to tell them how to move forward in their work in order to make it stronger. Like, for example, you've done an excellent job organizing your work. Your ability to synthesize information from different sources really stands out. But still, in section 3, you have to look at the plan that you have put in order to solve this word problem in mathematics. So we have to make sure that students, they see the constructive criticism with solution when we are giving feedback. Another example could be you have good writing skills, but your essays could benefit from clearer paragraph transitions. Consider using transitional phrases like on the other hand, as a result of, in conclusion, to guide the reader through your arguments. Balance positive and constructive feedback. When we are praising the strength of the students, we need to highlight on what they did well, to boost their confidence, to encourage them to continue their efforts. But on the other hand, we have to point out areas that require attention, but do it with suggestions on how to improve rather than making it generic. So by then, the feedback is looked at as actionable and specific. Encouraging self-reflection. We need to ask students to reflect on their work. We need to ask them to tell us the challenges, the obstacles, the gaps that are hindering them from completing their work on time and doing well in the areas. that they see themselves weak at. So this promotes the ownership of their learning. So we need to include in our feedback statements such as, can you reflect on how you approached the final project? How do you think went well? What could you change if you had more time to do it? So by then students, they feel that they can provide suggestions to talk about what they have been through, and they will have hope that the coming assignments or coming tasks will be constructed differently in a more appealing way, rather than they feel that tasks are being thrown on them and they have to do them no matter how they feel about them. Using rubrics or standards for consistency. It, it's very helpful all the time to use rubrics when we are trying to provide feedback. In some cases, not in all cases, but having those clear rubrics with specific standards will ensure consistency in evaluation. So you will be telling students to come, look at the rubrics, and to see why they have not scored the top level. What is missing? So by then, if they can rectify this for later, their scores will improve. So examples could be using phrases such as, according to the rubric, your portfolio scores 4 out of 5 in content because you included a variety of work samples, but you did not reflect with details, or you have used work samples that does not demonstrate your progress over time in that specific learning target, so come and so forth. Now we're going to look at a very important part related to a student portfolio, which is focused on parents' involvement. Why parents' involvement is key in the student portfolio process? As we all know, regardless of how good our services are in terms of the learning opportunities that we provide, activities, and learning targets, we have to make sure that we build and maintain this strength in the homeschool connection. So the first point is related to the strengthening the home school connection. Involving parents in the portfolio process helps bridge the gap between home and school because it will encourage better communication and collaboration. Keep in mind that parents and teachers are partners. They have to be on the same page regarding students' progress, needs, and goals. So the portfolio will help keep everybody informed. And if parents to be included, then they will understand better what students are passing through, how they are learning, how they're progressing, what are their gaps, and what kind of support they need. The second part, which is promoting student motivation and accountability. When parents are engaged in the portfolio process, students feel more accountable for their work. The presence of their parents in the process reinforces the value of the portfolio and increases motivation to maintain high quality work. The third one fosters a holistic view of the student's development. Parents can offer valuable insights into their child's non-academic growth, such as personal development, attitudes, and social emotional learning. This contributes to a more well-rounded understanding of the student's overall progress. Fourth one, improves goal setting and achievement. With parents involved in the goal setting process, students are more likely to set realistic, achievable goals that are both academically and personally meaningful. This collaborative effort also helps parents feel invested in their child's success. The fifth one enhances academic support at home. When parents are aware of the content in the student's portfolio, they can better support their child at home. because they will help their child overcome the challenges, reinforce the strengths, and encourage areas for improvement. The sixth one, boost student confidence. Parents' involvement encourages students to take pride in their work. When a child knows that their parents are invested in their learning, they feel validated and supported, and this increases their confidence in their abilities. The seventh one encourages reflection and growth. The portfolio process encourages both parents and students to reflect on academic and personal growth over time. Parental involvement can help students recognize their achievements and identify areas for future development. Eighth one, provides a stronger foundation for future decision. Parental involvement in the portfolio process can help inform decisions related to future educational pathways, such as choosing courses, exploring career interests, and making some decisions about options for future education and career development. So let's agree that incorporating parents into the student portfolio process will enhance the learning experience by creating a supportive, collaborative environment that encourages academic success and personal growth. Not only that, the feedback that parents provide gives an insightful encouragement to develop the child's portfolio and to help him commit to doing this task enthusiastically. Ultimately, parental engagement in the portfolio process promotes a more holistic approach to education, supporting not only academic achievement but also emotional and social development. Not to forget to mention that when the parents will see the developmental process of their child, they will be accepting more the level of performance of the child, and they will be more informed about the gaps, areas of weakness, and the areas which require more support and more work from their side. So they will not be surprised when they will get the results of external assessment, when they will not be surprised when they will get the report cards. They will know ahead of time the struggles of the child, the needs of the child, and they will take an active role in supporting the child by reinforcing the concepts, maybe having more activities at home. So having a specific dedicated area in the portfolio for parents to reflect, comment, be engaged, and have the checkpoints is key in making sure that they are well informed about the progress and attainment throughout the academic year. Towards the end of this video, we are going to talk about the two different forms of portfolio, since nowadays there is a big shift of moving from paper-based to the digital portfolio. So we have two kinds of portfolio that we can deploy as a school community. The first one, which is the paper-based portfolio, or what they call a physical portfolio. By definition, the physical portfolio is a tangible collection of student work, such as papers, art projects, reports, photographs, and they are typically stored in a binder or folder. The schools which are promoting a paperless strategy is moving more towards a digital portfolio, which is an electronic version of a portfolio that can include documentations, images, videos, audio files, and links to online resources. Just to speak a little bit about the pros and cons of each type of portfolio. When we look at the paper-based portfolio, we are the advantage of that is that students, they can physically interact with their work. They can feel it, which will give it more personal meaning for them. It is easier for younger students in the KG and in the elementary. It is a physical item which they can look at, visit, and it will show the original work itself. What is the disadvantage of a paper-based portfolio? The physical portfolios take up space, and over time they can become really very hard to store and manage. So the organization of this portfolio will require an ongoing effort. Additionally, when we talk about the disadvantage of a paper-based portfolio or a physical portfolio, we're talking about the difficulty in sharing the portfolio with teachers, parents, and other students, as it could be very difficult without a physical meeting to look at that portfolio eye to eye between the parents, the teachers, and the students. Looking at the digital portfolio, what are the advantages or the pros? The digital portfolio is easily accessible and can be shared with parents, teachers, school leadership team, and any other member through online platforms or links, which allows broader collaboration and instant feedback immediately coming from all those different stakeholders. The second advantage, which is the ability to incorporate a variety of media, images, videos, and audios. Also, the third advantage is the easy organization and management of the portfolio by allowing students to update it instantly, adding, deleting, modifying content just with few clicks. They can do it without any physical clutter. Moreover, the digital portfolio will have a long-term storage, as it doesn't require any physical space, and it can be stored on cloud in the folder of students or on their desktop. What are the disadvantages of a digital portfolio? The disadvantages is the access to technology, as we know that not all students, they are privileged to have access to computers, internet, and digital tools, which might be an obstacle that will not allow them to make it impressive and of high quality. Also, another disadvantage, which is the technical difficulties, because some students do not have the high-tech digital literacy that will enable them to make the digital portfolio good in terms of its presentation and organization. And also when we talk about the age group, when we talk about little students, the digital portfolio could be a challenge for them. It becomes less of a challenge as students grow older. They become in the elementary, middle, and high school. Ultimately, the choice between physical and digital portfolios depends on students' age, the technological access, and the intended purpose of the portfolio. So a combination of both methods can be used for the portfolio. So a combination of both methods could be used to best support students at different developmental stages. At the end of this video, I would like to thank you for watching, hoping that this video have highlighted the value of students' portfolios in capturing authentic learning and progress. Currently, in our current world where AI is reshaping the way we approach education. Portfolios provide a powerful tool for both students and educators to focus on growth, skills, and long-term development. Remember, it's not just about the answers students will give, it's about the journey they take to get there. So we encourage that you explore the portfolios in order to see how you can embed that in your own teaching practices and help guide students to reach their full potential in their learning journey. If you need any support, then you can drop comments below this video and we will be more than happy to reach out. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is a PowerPoint for an extensive workshop that was delivered for a group of teachers. So if you have any questions about implementing student portfolios or any other educational practices, just feel free to drop a comment and we will be here to help. Whether you're looking for tips, resources, or additional guidance, don't hesitate to drop a comment. Together, we can make the learning process more engaging and impactful for everyone. Thank you.